Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm hoping to give a talk today in relation to the attacks that happened in Paris yesterday. And I'm not condoning these acts, my dear brothers and sisters. But what I want us to understand is why is it whenever a Muslim commits a crime, they try to make a comparison between that crime and the teachings of Islam. If we are to understand what terrorism actually means, my dear brothers and sisters, we will come up with the conclusion and the realities that terrorist acts are carried out every single day. It's just we don't perceive them as being terrorist acts because of the way the media portray, manipulate and fabricate them stories. They are trying to manipulate the way we ourselves think and the way we ourselves perceive what is good and what is wrong. Do you know, my dear brothers and sisters, since September the 11th, millions of Muslims have been killed. Millions. 2 million alone have been killed in Iraq, and over 500,000 of them have been women and children. How can you tell me when you're constantly bombing and bombarding a region where there's innocent women and children living, and you're killing them innocent civilians, how can you tell me this is not terrorism? And Iraq is now the most likely place on the planet for a child to be born severely deformed. And this is because United States of America were dropping uranium in that region. And now more children are born deformed in Iraq than in any other country in the world. My dear brothers and sisters, what about the UK? Mr. Blair tried to tell us before invading Afghanistan that one of the reasons we were invading was to eradicate the production of opium, which he said was funding terrorism. But what actually happened after UK troops had invaded is that the production of opium increased by over 10,000%. You see the hypocrisy and the lies by our politicians, my dear brothers and sisters. The United States of America sends $8 million a day to the state of Israel, a state that has been committing genocide and killing innocent Palestinians for over 60 years and now occupies over 80% of their land. And we in the UK, we are the main arms dealers to the state of Israel. So who are the real terrorists, my dear brothers and sisters? Who are the ones committing genocide on a much larger scale than what we saw yesterday in France? And let's look at France itself. Look at the atrocities and corruptions that they committed in Syria. And now look at what's happening in Syria. My dear brothers and sisters, Islam is not a religion of terrorism. Islam is a religion of justice and peace. It is a way of life, a complete way of life. In fact, the word Islam means submission to the Creator. And we Muslims, my dear brothers and sisters, this is why the politicians hate us so much. Even though we have to abide by the law of the country, we do not bow down, and we are not a servant to the politicians. We are not a slave to these politicians. Rather, we are a slave to the Almighty Creator, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, the maintainer, the sustainer, the provider, the protector of all living things. He is the only one we serve. And if more people acknowledged and appreciated the Creator, maybe we could achieve peace and justice in this world, my dear brothers and sisters. The best people to ever walk this earth, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, Muhammad, all of them submitted their will to God. They all followed Islam. They were all servants of the Creator. And when we have a society, a system that we are all a slave to, we have all become enslaved to this system, my dear brothers and sisters. They use us through their corrupt practices. We have to understand that these politicians will attack anyone and demonize anyone who doesn't agree with this corrupted system. But Islam is a religion of peace and justice. And it is the fastest growing way of life around the world. In the last 10 years alone, in the UK, nearly 200,000 people have embraced Islam. Over a third of the Muslims in America are reverts to the religion of Islam. And Islam continues to be the world's fastest growing religion, a way of life. And if anyone was to study Islam you will come to the conclusion that Islam promotes the idea not only to respect every human being, but every creation on this planet. And this is why we Muslims believe it will be Islam that will bring peace, prosperity and harmony to the planet that we're living on. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala softens our hearts towards the beauty of Islam. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, blessings and mercy of the Almighty Creator be upon us all. Ameen.
اتقوا الله إن الله عليم بذات الصدور يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم مغفرة وأجر عظيم والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا أولئك أصحاب الجحيم